What's going on, guys? So, it looks like I've had a few people queuing up already. Wow. Well, cool. So just thought I'd do a quick live again, like yesterday. Don't know how long I'm gonna be on for, but yeah. So, someone on Twitter was asking me about the flat Earth, asking me a couple of questions. One of them was why do they lie to us? And the other was I think one of the questions was, how does the day and night work? So I explained that was because of a local sun, which is only lighting up a section at a time, and it moves to different parts of the world at different times of the year. So that's what gives you the season. So this person seemed pretty open-minded, and it's good when you get people who aren't so dogmatic in their beliefs. People might say that I'm dogmatic in my beliefs, but I'm more of a skeptic. I look at I'm looking at both sides of the argument. Well, there's globe, the flat. I'm finding that the globe doesn't really have anything going for it, as the globalists would say. The only thing going for the globe is ignorance. Because there have been quite a few people trolling on Twitter, as everywhere, and it's just the same old arguments, And it's like, well, there's not even much point dealing with these, There was actually at some points literally I went out for a few hours, came back, and it said 99 plus notifications. It was like, so these must have been kind of probably the trolls were having a conversation with each other or something. But anyway, see who's in chat. Candy Franklin, how are you? Millennium, Billy Sunday, Wesley Stace, and Flat Earth News Talk. How are you guys? Good to see you guys in chat. But anyway, yeah, just gotta do every bit that you can. I would like to go out and actually do activism and stuff. But it's like I would like to do it, but I don't know exactly what to do really. Because if I was to do say the truth cubes, I'd have to try and, because I don't have a printer, so I can't print it off. But I suppose I could get someone to do it, maybe. I suppose it'd be a pretty easy thing to do, and I've got to give it to Joel for doing that, because it's going to be something that taps into people's curiosity when they see the truth cube, and it's like giving them directions, and and then they open it up and it tells them to go on a video, and they're like, because it doesn't tell them out about flat Earth or anything like that. It just directs them somewhere, and then but I think any activism, there's been different people, and I still haven't watched Mindfulness's video or even Paul Maragi's video or anything like that. I'll have to just watch them at some point. It's just there's so much going on, all these different hangouts and things, because I was on Dread's hangout earlier, and they started getting into religion and things like that. There was something they were talking about it was yesterday, I think it were, and some about which came first, male or female. Well, my answer to that is neither. I can't prove that, but to me it makes more sense that they're equal, and they are different, but it's not like one's superior over the other. And we've got to get out of the thinking that one is superior than the other, when if God created us, then he would want us to be equal. Simple, But anyway, well, I'll give Wes a link if I can. I'll send it to your private messages. So hang on a minute. What I mean is you have a live thing going on right now or something. I don't know. Well, just send it anyway, just in case you want to jump on. It's good to get new people joining and stuff. But it'd be cool to have you in as well, Candy. But it's alright if you can't come on. It's fine. I wasn't intending on doing a proper hangout, but if we can get some new people joining and stuff, that would be good. What, has any of you guys done anything to spread the message? It seemed like yesterday was quite a good day for spreading the message, because the flat earthers had the idea to kind of hijack the Earth Day and kind of turn it into Flat Earth Day, and apparently Tim Osman did his own anti-flat Earth activism. What the hell? Apparently, according to Validation Boy, he's staged it or something. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of flat Earth channels anymore. I just kind of tend to spend more time in hangouts and things like that. Because a lot of the content on these channels and stuff is getting a bit rehashed, you know. Alright, so it's this same troll guy who keeps commenting on my Twitter, asking me, so what is your flat Earth map then? I don't need a map. I mean, that's the thing with it's like, you know, it's like they're shifting the burden of proof. Oh, well, if your Earth's flat, then what's the map? Well, no, I don't claim to know what the exact layout is. All I know is that water needs to be contained by something, probably just by ice or something, or more land or something. I don't know, but we know that it takes up the shape of its container. That's pretty obvious. Something that we can repeat, you know? This whole notion of a spinning ball that's whizzing through space and somehow all the water and all the people and everything can stick to it. Nah, that's absolutely not going to happen. It's not recreatable, therefore it's not reality. They call the flat Earth unscientific, but it's the opposite because the globe is the one that's really unscientific because, because they can't reproduce any of what they're claiming. So we've got Island Von Vicious. How you doing? Well, I was watching Barbie McGill just for a little while last night because I caught the last part of it, and it was like it seemed to kind of go into a debate, and I don't think it should really be like that, but it's cool if people want to do that kind of style where they have like 3 versus 3 or 2 versus 2 or something, and they're trying to, you know, it's like one side versus the other, but nah, not for me. I think it's just about getting people to ask real questions and not, and not kind of, it's like if they're going to make claims, they have to be proven scientifically because they claim that, you know, the flat Earth's unscientific, then, you know, they need to prove that what they're claiming is scientific. You know, a bunch of mathematical formulas isn't scientific. Well, it's formal science, and which can be used to deceive. Take for instance the sticks and shadows experiment. If you're basing it off of plain trigonometry, the sun is really close, and it's actually that's why it's doing what it's doing. But if you're basing it off of spherical trigonometry, then it puts the sun at 93 million miles, or however far they want you to believe it is, which has changed from just a few million up to 93 million. So, you know, a lot of flat earthers say it's 3,000 miles up, but I would have to beg to differ on that one, because I just don't see any proof of it being even that far up. Otherwise, it would probably light up the whole sky. It would light up not the whole sky, you know what I mean, about the whole Earth at a particular time. I'm not sure if it would, but it seems like there's a localized light. Now the Globers will say, oh, well, the sun actually stays the same size as it's setting, but at certain places, a lot of people have filmed it actually appearing to get smaller with distance. Now, the reason why sometimes it appears really big when it's going down is due to the atmospheric lensing, and that's why it sets simple. So anyway, right, well, I'll give Joel the link if he wants to come in. Yeah, thanks for all for all coming on and watching. I didn't even think I'd get this many people already because I think Globust is still on. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna send Joe a link, and yeah, it's just good watching Dell's hangouts and things, and other people's hangouts. You know, Dread, he's got good hangouts, and I like what these people do. They leave it open, but I mean, I liked it to be open, but it's like I haven't got to a point where I'm getting loads of people requesting links, and it's like the only Globers that will probably request links are the troll one. So you know, and I usually get similar people, but you know, sometimes I get some new people, and that's good because you know there has been a few more recently that they're new to this. I mean, not new to this. I mean, as in new to my hangouts and things. So you know, it was good what Mick Flat Earth Still Water was saying, and that maybe you should go and thumb up these Globers because, you know, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like reverse psychology or something, you know, if you start giving them support, then, you know, that might make them sort of, it might make them kind of less aggressive and kind of, you know, anyway.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not going to be that long tonight, mate. Probably about 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Just say hi.
Yeah, cool. Because if anyone like kind of, if there's any new people or anyone who's not been on much, then it'd be good to have them on as well. So
yeah, absolutely. We always welcome new faces, don't we, mate?
Yeah, because it's like, because that means there's, because I don't know if Ireland's asking for a link or something. I don't know. It's saying, I'll come visit if you want some new talking points.
Okay.
I've had him on before, and because he talks concave, but he just thinks it's what they're teaching, but it's in verse. It's like, I can't get my head around how that's even possible. It's like, so basically, it's just Einstein's theory, but reversed.
Again, who knows, mate? Hello, Rourke Vibrations. How you doing? So, Jamie, let me get this clear. Are you subscribing to a model?
No, I'm not. No, why?
Just curious.
Why you don't? You said you don't subscribe to any models, do you?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I think there's much point. I mean, yeah, if you have your beliefs and stuff, then you have your beliefs, but you've got to not be dogmatic about it. You've got to allow that to kind of change with new information that's presented.
Right.
I had this idea, and I mean, but it's probably not for the flat earthers. It's probably doesn't really make any sense. But because when I looked at, I don't know if you've seen the map where it's got like, because it's got like the because like the AE map where it's got like the ice ring around the edge.
Yeah.
But it's got like another ice ring outside of that one with more land inside of it. So, and it's just an idea. I don't believe it, but it was just, I was just playing with an idea. What if that outer ice ring is actually the true South Pole, and Antarctica is actually the equator?
Well, I love ideas. Ideas are great.
Well, obviously, there'd have to be curvature in that, but it wouldn't be as much as what they're telling us. But it's not, because it's not been measured. It's hard to kind of think that it could be. I don't know.
Well, when we look at any form of curvature, we have to keep coming back to the reality of what water does. Yeah, every time water will not, no matter if it's on a teaspoon or on a massive ocean.
But to play devil's advocate, you haven't actually kind of, because I know the Globers will be like, oh, you've not been high up enough to see the curve, to see the hump or what have you of the water or something. So, because if you're only seeing, say, 1 degree or something, it's not going to really be noticeable. So that could be on faith in a way, but I do understand where people are coming from, but I tend to not really use the argument too much because I know these people think, well, what about gravity and all that? And but that's something that's not really been proven. So,
right.
But I'm not sure if it's all down to density and buoyancy because I don't know.
Well, but then Jamie, that's practical science, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I know that. But it's like we've got to question why it's doing that, though. It's like why.
Well, we know that. We know that if an object is heavier or denser than the air around it,
so
it's
what do you
drop.
think's giving it its weight, though?
Because it's denser. It's the molecules, right, are more compact. Therefore, that's what creates the density and therefore the weight of the object.
Yeah, because people talk about zero G environments and not, even things that have weight and stuff, they don't feel like they have any weight or something like.
Well, look, all right, let's look at the Vomit Comet, right? Let's look at that, right? How does that work? So a Vomit Comet, right, goes up at a certain angle, right, at a certain speed and drops down at a certain angle and at a certain speed. Anything that's entrapped within it, right, all it's doing is floating in the air inside of it, right? That's how you get the illusion of zero G, because it is floating, right, with the speed of the aircraft dropping down or
I've heard about that, but people talk about actually experiencing weightlessness.
Well, you're going to, because you feel like you're floating in air, which is what zero G is.
I suppose it's not really a natural environment, is it? So it's like they're taking science out of the natural world and putting it in a laboratory or to to some other external place that's
Right.
not, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I get that, you know. It's just obviously there's still things that we don't quite understand, and obviously there's a lot of things that we don't understand much about at all, to be honest. So you know, like, well, what's the sun, you know? But it's like they put the burden of proof on us to explain what these things are, but they can't even explain their model, you know. And
Right.
you know, because I've been thinking about something quite a lot lately. You know, when you look at the sun and the moon, what does that tell you? Look, it tells you that, you know, they're both about the same size and about the same distance. Now, if you want to believe in a heliocentric model, then that puts the moon at nearly 240,000 miles, and then the
Yeah.
sun at 93 million miles, and they
Right.
just happen to be that size that when it eclipses, they just happen to be like a puzzle piece, and there's no light that, you know, comes through. That's absolutely absurd.
Right. Well, all that is, right. All that is, Jamie, is mathematics in reverse, right? So they're looking at the world, observable world around them, and they're going, right, okay, here's my idea of the world. Now I have to create a mathematical equation to justify it, right?
Yeah.
So it's in reverse. It's not like they've observed it, right, and equated their equations from it. They've looked at it, and then in reverse, they've gone, right, I'm going to calculate how that can work.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
Do you see what I'm saying?
it's just math and
Right?
magic, isn't it? It's like,
Right, math and magic, beautiful.
the magic trick. Yeah, you can do a magic trick on somebody, pick a card, and then you find it. There's a
Right.
1 in 52 chance that you got it right. But
Right.
with this, it's even less likely that there would just happen to be a puzzle piece fit. I mean,
Yeah,
think about it, guys. It's logical.
it's insane.
I mean, some are saying the moon is probably a little bit further away from, but you know, they're not probably that much different, because that's what our senses tell us. I was thinking about something else, you know, with the orbit around the sun, because you know they talk about you know, inertia and things like that, and only being able to, you know, experience a change in acceleration. But as Pete Shea was saying, not only would you experience a change in acceleration, but you'd experience a change in direction. Now, if we're orbiting the sun and they're claiming it to be elliptical, then it's constantly changing direction throughout the year.
Right.
Because as it's going towards like the furthest point away from the sun, it's actually turning tighter. It's going like kind of exponentially. You should definitely feel that.
And hey, whoa, what about the wobble? Apparently, it wobbles on its axis, right? All right. What about that? You know?
Yeah.
And what about the fact that it's pear-shaped? Yeah, every single NASA official photograph shows it as a perfect sphere.
Well, to play devil's advocate on that, of course, you know, they'll say, well, you know, it's only 1/300th wider at the equator than at the poles. You know, it's like,
yeah, but still, even so, even with the slightest inclination, right? Okay, or let's call it a waste hit, right, on the Earth, right? What do you think that would do, right, to the water mass if we lived on a ball? What do you think that would do to the water mass acting upon that shape? It would send it nuts. It would send it in all directions.
well, if it's, you know, because if it's a pear shaped, it would be like, you know, because they talk about, because of is it the centrifugal force or something that of it bulging out or something. So they're saying, well, you know, some saying that all the water should collect at the equator because of the bulge, the equatorial bulge.
Right, so all land which exists around the equator should be covered in water then.
Well, I don't quite know if that would be true, but they're claiming that, you know, because it's a bit flattening out due to the, you know, when Neil deGrasse Tyson, well-known scientist, you know, saying that, if you spin the pizza dough,
yeah,
it flattens out. It gets it at the top and bottom. It gets squashed and it gets a little wider at the equator.
Yeah.
So Earth, as it formed, and it almost seems like sarcastic when he's saying it. If you notice in his body language, if you look at his body language, it's like he doesn't even believe the shit he's saying.
Right, he knows his bullshit. You can tell it in his body language. You can tell it in his speech. And actually, if everyone was to go right now and look at that video, right, where he drops the microphone, right, okay, you actually see him, his hand is shaking, right, where the brain in his head is saying, I'm bullshitting, and I know I'm bullshitting. So it reverberates through his body, and it translates that nervousness of a lie.
Yeah, you know what
it
is? Well,
honestly, I'm serious. Everyone, go check it.
Well, listen to
He's
this,
nervous.
right? Listen to this, right? Well, the consciousness is being transferred from his brain down to his hand. That's why it's shaking, and it causes the mic to be denser than the earth surrounding it. That's why it falls, because of his brains. His brains being denser than the air that surrounds them. Yeah. So wonder that they don't fall to his feet.
Jamie,
well, they probably have, to be honest.
Jamie, Billy Sunday is saying, have a look in chat.
All right, well,
I don't know what the reason is, but
I'll just well, if he's after a link, I'll just Ireland Von Vicious I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'll just get him a link. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know, right? We know that Neil the Ass Tyson and Bill Nye the twat face guy, we know these are front men and speech people, right, for the system. We know that. These are celebrities. I mean, Bill Nye,
he got hired by Disney.
Well, he's an actor. He started off his career as an actor.
And he's a comedian.
Right. And then suddenly he's a fucking respected scientist.
Yeah, funny thing is, most of these people, probably all of them, have IMDb profiles or what have you. Right.
You just got to look. You just got to look at the evidence and look at. Hey, by the way, Jamie, have you seen the recent Eddie Bravo video with Eric, not with Eric Dubay, but when he was on the recent Joe Rogan show?
No, I heard about it, but apparently it was like a heated.
I tell you what, I have a massive Eddie Bravo because he stuck to his guns, man.
Well, apparently he was being a bit kind of, like he wasn't too clued up on his facts or something. So the Globers kind of ganged up on him and kind of
Well, that's the reason. I watched the entire thing, right? And fair shout to Eddie Bravo because they ganged up on him, right? And every time he tried to put his point across, they would jump in, and they would not allow him to get his clues or his facts across, and they displaced him, so he would lose his track of thought.
Hey guys.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Oh yeah.
I'm doing well, man. I've been working on a lot of stuff relating to I don't know what you call it, alternative cosmology.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys are open for it yet. I can wait if you need.
We're open to anything, mate.
All right. One thing that kind of caught my attention this weekend when I was looking into my magnetic such is just that when you take an iron magnet and say you hook like a nail to it, it's got a normal north and south, and you basically superheat the magnet, it loses its magnetic property. So it's been a known fact with the globe. You can find videos of this 50 years ago at least.
This is why we cannot have a magnetic core.
Right. Well, there's a theory of why it's still in the globers, but that's also got an issue that people seem to be missing. So originally it said, well, that doesn't work if you have a big magnetic core that's iron. So the theory, this is where the very first theory that we can't have any proof of to say we're still on a globe comes into play, starts right here. And they say, well, it's iron in the core that's basically liquid because it's so hot that is spinning alternate to the mantle of the Earth in order to create the electric charge, which still allows for it magnetic. Now, since that time when they first, had these results and said, well, we're just going to make a theory to keep it a globe, talking a lot about how the poles shift, right? So north to south and back, and we've seen through fossil studies that this has happened many times before. You say, okay, so if it's flipping like that, what is the mechanism inside the Earth if the Earth has kept the same rotation the entire time? Because it would basically say that the metal in it how it's spinning would end up changing the opposite direction. And then if it did go the opposite direction, wouldn't it just be going with the rotation of the Earth and then lose its electric charge, longer magnetic?
Right.
So before you even get into where are the stars, this and that, there's some pretty serious issues for us to have the magnetism we see and to be able to be on a globe. That was a kind of a hokey theory in the first place, and it seems that evidence is now pointing against that theory.
Right.
So that was one thing I noticed. One other thing that kind of popped out at me this weekend was looking at diamag magnetic properties of water. And basically, they've done tests on Earth. NASA likes to brag about the tests they do that aren't in space. Look what we can do. And they can show that using strong magnets, because water repulses no matter if it's a north or south polarity of a magnet, they basically magnetize the floor, put a frog in the room or a rodent, levitated the frog or the rodent because it's mostly made of water. And they're saying, oh, well, in the future, we might be able to do this with people. And I'm like looking at it like, what do you mean in the future? You just proved you can freaking levitate anything that's made of water because you're using the diamagnetic properties of water to levitate animals. Why wouldn't you be able to do it with a human right now?
Right.
To me, it seems like, yeah, you would be able to do it with a human right now, which is basically look just like all the videos you show. So even if you are saying it's space, you could just basically be magnetizing people to look like they're in zero gravity.
Right.
And they're saying in the future we're going to use that to, test and work on stuff so people don't have to go into space for us to do zero gravity stuff. It's like, you can do it right now.
Yeah.
You've already proven you can do it right now. So who's to say your videos aren't doing that and you're just giving it to us that way?
Right, exactly.
So how would they fake it on Earth? Well, that's how they fake it right on Earth.
Yeah, all good points, mate. All good points.
All right.
Ireland, you were saying about
Okay.
that you don't think there's this giant conspiracy or something.
Well, let me put it like that. I think if there is what you consider a conspiracy, it's just the space agency doing half-ass things in order to get money out of us.
But we know that the whole government is corrupt and that they're after power and stuff. So to me, it's like we're all working in cahoots together to lie to us.
You don't get to the top without being corrupt.
Of course.
I mean, you can go to any business and know this. I mean, any business. But once you get close to wherever the owner is, whoever's writing the loans, usually a total suck-ass piece of shit. We all fucking know this, no matter what you do for a living. And then as you go down, you finally start finding half-ass moral people until you probably get to the working class. Still seem to have morals if they make enough money to still be able to afford morals. That's a whole nother topic.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, they're corrupt as fuck. So, sure. I'm saying they're just doing a money grab. It doesn't have to be this bigger. Like, could they get to the moon? Is it possible to get to the moon? Maybe, maybe not. Did they get to the moon? Probably not. They don't look. I don't think so. They probably just stole a bunch of fucking money.
No. Hell no.
Yeah, well, you get my point. Like,
yeah.
Just because they didn't doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means they didn't and they stole a bunch of money lying their asses off.
Yeah, but this is also. Sorry. This is all basing on the assumption that the moon is what we perceive it to be. Is it a solid entity?
Well, even on the moon, right? Like, let's say we're looking up at the moon. From Earth, we can see that we actually see more than 50% of the moon. That's what they have a misconception. They go, oh, it's tidally locked with the Earth. It rotates. We see half of it. No, we actually see closer to like 57% of it because of what they call an orbit. So you actually see if you look it up on wikis and stuff, you'll see that we actually see more than half of the moon. So if it's a flat disk that has no 3 dimensions, I don't see how that's possible. And if it's a half a sphere like an LSC models, well, where does the extra 7% come?
Yeah, but there's also the question that, when you look at the moon during daylight and then you can see the blueness of the sky behind it, you see half of it and you see the other half. What does that tell us?
Well, you could be looking at curvatures of light, or you could be looking at something that has a transparency about it. You could be looking at, I guess, what globe heliocentric people would call the atmospheric refraction playing tricks on you, but I don't really think that works the way they say it does. So,
right. Well, I just don't. I'm struggling with it being a solid spherical object.
They use the atmospheric conditions when it suits them, but when it's like when we explain things with it, kind of logically, then they'll be like, no, that you can't explain it with that, so you can't win with any of these people.
I do believe it's a solid object based on that we can see more than 50% of it. So in the model I work on, yes, solid object, 3D ball. So if you want me to try to defend how that would work, I can, but I didn't really come on here to discuss my model too much.
No, it's cool.
I'll just put it like this. We know gravity bends light. We see it during solar eclipses when the moon's in front of the sun. We can see stars that should be behind it that come in front of the moon because the light's being bent due to gravity. Or if you want to call it electromagnetism, whatever, I don't care. Stars end up in front of the moon from our point of view. We see that light bend. Maybe that is why we see the moon that way. I don't know. That would be my best guess.
Well, that's another point. There are amateur photography that shows stars on one half of the moon behind it. How is that even possible? You know?
Well, I'm saying if gravity, if we're looking at it from a heliocentric model, gravity is bend light. So when a star is at the edge of an object and it goes behind it, when it's the gravity of that object is going to bend it around that object ever so slightly, so that as you get to the edge of the object, you will actually see what is behind the object in front of it.
Assuming you accept gravity as a reality.
Gravity as a reality.
Light with.
I do not accept gravity as a reality.
That's fine. I'm saying you can do the same thing in an experiment in the laboratory using like electromagnetism and light. So
that might be a good thing to put out. I don't accept gravity as a reality. It just sounds kind of catchy, doesn't it?
It's very catchy. I might use it myself, mate. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt.
Well, that was my contribution in today to get you to the point where you could say that and make it. That'll
Awesome.
The one other thing I had I was thinking about after this NASA thing, because you guys always ask, how do you stick water to a sphere, right?
Right.
And this one kind of goes into that concave thing. I know you guys are flatters, so I'm not going to get too into it. But if we know that water has the repulsion effect from magnetism, so if you have a magnetic universe, like a lot of flat earthers and concave believers or cellular believers believe in, then the magnetics that are in the middle of the universe, that are basically where most of our electromagnetism is coming from, would have a repulsion effect on water. So if there is a concave, you would be pushing, like if there's no other forces, no gravity, that kind of stuff, you would be pushing the water toward the concave itself, which is what be why Earth has water on it, because it's a diamagnetic particle that you would be pushing against the concave itself, basically. And then everything that is land and below it and that kind of stuff would be due to the buoyancy that flat earthers seem to say is what's happening instead of gravity. So you could basically put a very strong magnet in the middle of a ball and put water in that ball and push the water up to the ball, and then everything else would be due to buoyancy if there's no other forces of why we are sticking to the planet.
But the thing is I mean, where's the proof that water reacts to magnetism?
You can take a regular magnet, like a nice strong magnet, and actually just turn on your kitchen sink and have the water just running straight down, put the magnet up to it, and you can actually watch the water bend away from the magnet, stop falling straight down. You can do
so this could lend credence to the fact that every compass points north, right? But what is north, or what is at the central northern point? And why won't governments allow people anywhere near that central point?
Well, that might be a whole different topic. It might not have anything to do with cosmology itself. That's kind of an assumption.
Well,
really want to jump
absolutely.
Into, but what I could say is, if the universe is magnetic and it has its own magnetic fields that are making the rings that you see, say in like Ken Wheeler's video with the ferrocells, you see all the circles around something that's putting out a magnetic force. What we see as the Earth's magnetic field might not actually be coming from the Earth at all. It would just be our view of the universe's magnetic field, and we're wrapped around it, and it would look as if it's a magnetic field coming from the Earth. There may be no magnetic field on Earth like due to the Earth whatsoever.
I like that. That's definitely possible. Yeah, that's a good concept. No, seriously, you know, who fucking knows? You know, this is the whole point, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I'm sure people who know me are sick of hearing me say it, but at the end of the day, the whole issue here is we've been lied to for over 500 years, you know, and we want answers. We want to know why we've been lied to, you know, no matter what shape this fucking place is. We've been lied to about it. That is for sure.
Well,
he suddenly dropped out.
Oh, no, just see if he comes back in. Maybe just.
Yeah, it's probably a connection error. Well, to be honest, Jamie, I've got to shoot myself, mate.
Right.
To be honest, I only intended to be on for like 10 minutes, but the conversation got interesting.
Yeah. Well,
I'm back. My antivirus decided it didn't like
so yeah, Joel, thanks for coming on again. I'll be doing it again tomorrow night, and it's going to be a longer one tomorrow night. So
cool.
We'll get some good discussion again.
Can I just get sorry, what was your name again, my friend? The one on the left there.
Ireland One Vision.
John. Cool. I shall subscribe to you, my friend.
Right on. I'm starting to add a few little funny videos for food for thought.
Cool. All right, listen, guys. Thanks for having me on, Jamie. I'll see you chaps soon.
Right on.
Cheers.
Make that t-shirt.
Absolutely. Damn right.
All right, Jamie. Well, I got what I had to say as far as what which I thought was against the ball. Are you heading out soon, or
Pardon?
are you going to be leaving this hangout open for a while still? I missed that part when I dropped the hangout.
Well, I'll probably leave it. I don't know how long I'm going to be on, but I'll probably. It just depends. If anyone else wanted to join or something, I'd probably leave it on. And we'll just see how it goes.
Well, I got one other thing I made. I don't know if it's of interest to you, but can try. I made a little chart, kind of working on what the look of infinite going inward would look like. Or just kind of help people with the concept. If you want to comment on it, let me know if it's still confusing or if it actually helps. I don't know, but I don't want to take it off Flat Earth if you don't want it to.
Well, just go ahead and try and explain your perspective.
All right, I'm trying to bring up something I'm transferring from a USB device from my computer to laptop. Oh, got my kid screaming. Hold on a sec.
Okay, is anyone else after Link? Mr. Poncho Pete, how are you doing? Watching you hang out the other day. Wendy Blank, how are you doing? Cole Sternbeck, how are you doing? So you guys heard about Bill Nye saying something about wanting to make climate change denial illegal or something. I mean, what the hell? If that doesn't make alarm bells ring, I don't know what will. Right, cool, I'll send Poncho a link if he's after coming on. Alright, Poncho, I sent you the link in your private messages, so it should be in there.
Alright, sorry for the delay.
Alright, I've just sent Poncho Pete the link, so he should be coming on shortly.
Right on.
You don't know who I'm talking about.
We need Poncho in here. It got quiet.
Pardon?
We'll make it louder. All right, let's see if we can present this thing, right? Here we go.
So you want to screen share or something?
Yeah, I'm working on it. There we go. All right, see if that's popping up on the YouTube part of it.
Well, just
there it is. All right,
to everyone. Got it there.
Okay, so let me bring up the other on my bar and move it up a little bit. All right, so what we're trying to make sure it's working on the YouTube part. It's a little behind. All right, so what I was trying to do here was basically demonstrate what the Earth would look like, or a universe, and in the very center there where it's white would basically be toward infinity, and then the black would be nothingness on the outside of the circle on the right. I'm dragging that magnifying glass around. Basically, the Earth's shell would be right at the black itself, and then suns, planets, stars would basically be barely inside where you start seeing a little bit of white, and then we start going into our infinite universe more and more. These triangles I put here were to show that these triangles are basically identical triangles in that universe when you're inside it. Like of this length, call it 100 inches, and you put 100 inches on this side. Well, if you had 100 inches here, and this is 100 inches, just because it's on a different axis, if they're both 0 through 100, and your ruler actually changes to be that size compared to when you're on the horizontal, and your ruler will show 100 inches this way versus 100 inches that way, all your math would still end up identical, because if your measurement tool is shrinking the same as what's actually happening with what you're measuring, you could almost be two-dimensional and have no idea that you are. If more, I'll move it to this to kind of show. This would be the 0 for total mass in space of nothingness going toward the infinite. So that would be like one line from here to there. Are you still picking this up, Jamie?
Yeah, kind of. Just okay. It just seems kind of.
I know it's tough. What I'm getting at is this line represents from the dark to the center of the white. So you're getting more from 0 to infinite total mass and space going toward infinite. And then your distance is actually increasing as it gets toward infinite, even though it looks smaller. So the size inside of the visual model would continue to shrink, which is what's happening here. And the visual model gets to basically a point where infinite is that point, but the actual distance is increasing and is going upward of more from 0 of what would be nothingness, which is everything outside of that sphere. And then this is just a reference for where 0 would be versus Earth. So you would have this right here, the very outside, basically being just a single atom or a single cell or whatever you call it, a brick or whatever smallest atom you want to call it, smallest particle. We're basically wrapped inside a singular atom, because the thing that touches 0 is 1, and then the next thing is 2, 3, 4, and it keeps going up until you get right there at 40,000 kilometers circumference, which is the crust of the Earth, and then it just continues to exponentially increase. I don't know if that helps visualize. It's just one of the things that I was kind of piecing together to throw in one of the videos I'm going to make, kind of a rough version of it. Does it make any sense to you? Does it help with
Well, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it's such a far out idea, really.
Oh, I fully understand that. I mean,
You know,
my attitude
I'm
is
open to anything, really, but
I just think that when this idea exists, that's it. Like you don't need everything else becomes easily explainable. Why do we see further than we should? Why does the sun rays look like it's going into a singular point? Why like why is the axis of evil aiming at our equator and the universe is flat? Well, it's because look, it would be spinning right through the middle and it'd be
so
aiming right ahead.
so you believe that the sun and the moon just happen to be at that right amount of distance to where it's like they both just happen to look the same size?
Not what you would think as far as a helio model would go, because how do I put it? The way the light bends when you're talking about objects that would be that close, the moon could actually have a very large range between the sun and the crust of the earth in order to create that effect. It wouldn't be as it has to be so spot on as the heliocentric model says, because how it would be blocking light compared to that, you're talking you could move the moon versus the sun a few million miles and still have that effect versus them saying, oh, it used to not look like this a long time ago. So it's not as precise, I guess, would be the way to put it.
All right, anyway,
Which actually brings me to one other weird thing is if the moon is on an orbit that is elongated, right? It's basically an oval. And you shouldn't see it that way every time when it goes in front of the sun. At some points, the moon should be further from the Earth by at least a little bit, and the sun should be further or closer from the Earth. So the ring of fire that the heliocentrics point out shouldn't stay so constantly the same size from our point of view based on the oval orbits that they have, unless you have some kind of factor like a bending light, which would allow it to have a huge range and still show the same thing. Anyway, I'll stop screen sharing that. I feel with that.
Oh, well, cool. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, maybe people, can maybe understand your model a bit better. But anyway, Pete, how are you doing?
Hello.
Yeah.
Is it
So, Pete, long time no talk to.
I don't know if we met, have we? Hello. Is my mic working?
Yeah, your mic's working.
Have we met? I don't know. Have we met the other guy?
I'm going to give a shout out to Wendy. She just showed up in the YouTube chat.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's just.
Is that working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just sounded a bit breathy, shall we say?
I'm keeping my voice down is what I'm doing.
Yeah, he's trying to get you to turn him up really loud before you
I am like, is that not loud? Oh my gosh, it's because you're all used to me shouting and swearing.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you was gonna come on,
let me
shout your head off.
No chance. Not this time of night.
Yeah.
Let me have a look. Just go to my microphone. Levels. How about that? Is that better? Yeah, there you go. That's picking me up. Okay. Yeah, I'm good, Jamie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thanks. So how you been doing?
Well, I'm the first flat earther to get sectioned. Still killing me.
Yeah, I heard your what you said about what happened to you. It seemed pretty crazy,
Most people don't even know the full story. I'm telling you.
Why are you too embarrassed to tell all of it?
No, it's just this. It's not embarrassment. It's just you wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't. No one does. A couple of people know, and it's beyond bizarre. That's all I can tell you. But I can tell you this: you're going to be next. You're next, Jamie. You're going in the house next. You're next, Mel. You weren't expecting it, was you, James? You're famous, James. You're famous, dude. Yeah. Well, I could be anybody. I could be Antonio if I want. Dang it! I've got double face up. Back to the drawing board. Ding. Sock puppets. Yeah. So, flat earthers. You're right. They're wrong. You're just going to be classed as a nutter, even though you're not. I can only imagine what it's like for a cell earther to tell his friends. You're being pushed to the ground.
Well, hang on, Ireland, you're not a cell earther, are you? So.
No, I do not believe in a cellular Earth model at all.
So I can only logically assume that I live on flat Earth because water's flat and level, and there ain't a doctor or psychiatrist or psychologist in this world that can argue me wrong. Oh, Jamie.
They say that about all the Irish.
I'm only half Irish.
I'm the same. Freud said the Irish. That's why I think everybody who's in flat Earth is probably part Irish because there's something different about them. At least that's what Floyd said. It's always the Celts, man, Scottish and Irish. You can't brainwash them deep enough, I guess. They always fight back.
Do you say you're from Grimsby or something?
Me, yeah, I am, yeah, Grimsby.
Or have you always been from there or something?
I was born here, but I've lived all over the place. Depends. My dad was from Hull, my mum was a monkey owner. But she's Irish in descent. Everybody from my mum's side is Irish. Top of the morning to you, sir. On my dad's side, I'm not sure. Green eyes, dark hair. Keep getting told I look like Gino Di Campo at the minute. It's doing me head in. Everywhere I go, people going, hey, Gino. No, it's Poncho. It's been a wild 3 years of awakening for me.
So you've been into this for 3 years then?
Yeah, started with a legal name.
Oh, so you've not been into Flat Earth for 3 years then?
It followed up pretty quick. Yeah, I'd say about 3 years.
So that's what that was like the catalyst for you, I suppose, then?
Legal name was the catalyst. When I understood what they'd done to my name, I was looking at a David Icke video, and then the biggest lie of all, Dave Murphy, popped up. I just, within 10 minutes, 10 minutes, I just knew, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said they went through a lot of turmoil when they discovered this stuff, and they were going through a lot of cognitive dissonance and things like that, but that didn't happen with me because I never really had much of an assumption as to what, Flat Earth would be like, and just kind of accepted it because I didn't really think too much about it before. It was just, that it was told to me that it was like a globe, but I just accepted that, but I didn't really know why it were. It was just what everyone believed it were. So we thought, most of us think, well, it was this ancient belief that people once had, and now people have gotten smarter and they know better.
Well,
it took a few days before I even started getting to where I started thinking in my way. I went through all the other versions first that already existed, and that ain't working for me. Because each thing, I was like, I need something that has no disproof, like nothing that doesn't work. So I even looked at LSC's cellular and went, fuck no. My only thoughts were, okay, I saw Flat Earth stuff. I'm like, does this work? It took me about an evening, and I went, nope, I can't figure out the South Pole. I can't wrap my head around it. And then I was like, okay, so what other shape could it be? And I went, concave. That's it. There's only one more shape. And I looked at it, and I went, fuck no, it's nuts. And I almost walked away right there before I ever came on the chat anything and went, fuck. There's fuck it. I don't even want to go there. I was ready to just throw in the towel and just say, nope, these all look stupid. It must be heliocentric because what else could it be? And then I just stopped and went, nope, no way, I can't do it. There has to be more to this. I'm starting to wonder if Flat Earth is the psyops that people say it is. When you realize they've been lying to you, or not even lying to you, that they're just wrong. They thought they were telling the truth, maybe, and then you realize, fuck no. Here's your other option that we also know there's issues with, and it'll send you right back to the globe. And then you got LSC, who's basically the guy who keeps you from even thinking anything can be a different shape because he's got some crazy thing that they did back with Teed, who did the exact same thing he's doing, which kept people from even thinking about a concave shape whatsoever. So it took me a while to get to this point.
Some people have mistaken curvature for your own eyesight, your own perspective. Nobody's stupid enough when you look at some pictures to say that there's any curvature. If there is anything distantly, it's only atmosphere.
Well, in the model I'm working on, I expect to see no curvature. Everything horizontally from where we are on any given plane should always read flat.
It does.
Always. Yeah. That's your model, flat model, and the inverse, infinite going toward the center, you should always see flat. Every sense we have from the ground should be flat. But it fixes the problem with the stars.
Well, what does it matter what the stars are doing, though?
It matters to me because, when I look at basically the little empty spot,
I'm just going to refresh. Sorry.
That the stars are spinning around in a different way than they are in the northern hemisphere. They're all spinning from east to west, but you got a clockwise versus counterclockwise spin going, and you're having that same thing in all of the southern hemisphere. Just I can't geometrically, it doesn't work at all for me. I understand that what I'm dealing with involves non-Euclidean geometry, but at least they showed that mathematically can work, even though it wasn't how we've been doing math for centuries. At least it's had 100 years of people saying, no, this mathematically does work. It can be calculated. And on the flat model, it doesn't work in either of them.
Can you see that picture, Jeremy?
The flat horizon.
Yeah. Just on watching on the watch page, and I'm not showing. It's saying my app's crashed.
And I actually do expect to see a globe if you get far enough away from the Earth. Like, I do expect to see a globe. You should be able to read slight curvature if you were ridiculously high up, way higher than our balloons could get. It would start to look like curvature. But I don't think it can. At some point, it basically starts flipping into what's considered the mask illusion. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. You guys ever seen the mask of like Einstein, and you're looking at a concave of his face, but it flips from the way you're looking at it to look like it's convex? The cool video is on it. You can look up.
Well, I noticed like when the high altitude balloon footage, or even low down, it shows the kind of the horizon. It's like flipping in all different directions.
Right. Which, if you look at the mask illusion, you'll see the same thing happening. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you guys ever seen these videos? Like, they've done on science channels and stuff like that, where they just show like the mask that's clear and see through, and you automatically make it turn concave or convex from concave.
Don't think so.
It's worth looking at. You can just find YouTube videos on it and stuff. That's what I think is happening when we leave the surface of the Earth and start going toward infinity. And I know, like, people, like even the religious folk in this kind of, like, a lot of people are religious when it comes to flat Earth, and I'm like, it's usually the Bible. And when I started thinking this way, and I started seeing videos about it, like, I'm not somebody who's a church-going religious person, so I'm like, okay, what are these guys talking about? When I read the Bible, that they're saying, oh, this show's flat, like, I actually showed that, no, it's saying what I'm saying, which got even weirder. Like, well, I didn't expect science and religion to actually, like, meet. The one that gets me is just the book of Matthew, I guess, because, like, people believe in Jesus. And he basically tells us, like, in that book, there's an outer darkness. And that means how can it be outer darkness? And he calls it, like, the place with the grinding and gnashing of teeth. And he also says the place with the, like, fire and brimstone is the place with the grinding and gnashing of teeth. And it's said multiple times on both of those lines. So he's basically saying hell is an outer darkness. And if hell's below your feet and it's also outer darkness, there's only one shape that it can turn into. That's why I always trip on the religious people saying it's flat. Like, that ain't, like, the words of Jesus say otherwise. And then everything else they use to show flat still works in the model I'm working in. Like, I don't know. I just don't see anything that says it goes against it. So definitely found that out.
Well, it is interesting, it's something for people to kind of look into, but, I don't think it's going to convert a lot of people, but maybe in time, we'll just see how it kind of unfolds as time goes on, really.
I'm getting ready to start making videos on all this. Like, I told myself I'd do the year thing, but I'm about ready to make a small, 3-5 minute little videos, maybe like 5 of them or something, and just kind of put it out there in a big, like, volume of information on how to get to this point. I don't know. I just don't want it to die with me, I guess. I don't really care if I convert a bunch of people. I just don't want the idea to go away if there's still nothing that disproves it, I guess.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe that's worked. Maybe not. Why the heck ain't not working?
Anyway, I appreciate you giving me a little time to talk on here, Jamie. I hope those earlier points help the flat earthers as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, because if we can open up to different ideas, then it gives us kind of something that's like, if we're trying to, not so much argue with the Globers, but, like, if they won't have anything to argue against what we're trying to do if we have a more kind of flawless thing, but that will ever kind of know everything there is to know. But
unpresent island. That's what it is. It's not my bloody screen. So you're thinking, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, present Poncho. I'm gonna head out.
No, don't present me. Just unpresent him.
All right, but anyway, I'm gonna take the kids out. We'll do some bike rides.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in, and you're welcome to come on anytime. You got some ideas you want to share. I think flat earthers do need to kind of not be so dogmatic, even though a lot of them just think that there's no other way it can be. But we don't want to look like some religious cult.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like, even what I presented earlier, just as far as the diamagnetics and the water stuff, was just because I was in a flat earth channel yesterday. Got me thinking about it. Just what was said, and then I start looking into things, and it's like, hey, NASA can levitate animals right now. Make them look like they're 0G. I don't see why they can't do it with people. So
Yeah, because we can just kind of keep bouncing ideas off each other. Then hopefully we'll get a bit closer to the truth soon. We can just kind of. I mean, yeah, it might take a while, but I think that's what we're all ultimately gaining. I mean, that's ultimately what we're trying to gain is more knowledge about this reality, because we don't want to just live in ignorance and just let it be dictated to us, really, and without our own critical thinking of it.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll leave you guys with a funny thought as I head out. The North Pole is actually a southern polarity magnet. That's why everything that's north points toward it. Catch you guys next time.
Well, it didn't make me laugh. It said it was a funny
Well, the North Pole is a south magnet, and the South Pole is a north magnet. It's just kind of
funny. Like, as in it's like ironic.
Yeah.
So it's like flipped.
Yeah, because our north magnets, that's why we call it the North Pole, because all of our compasses point to the north. Our north, the thing we hold in our hand is a north magnet pointing that way, is actually your North Pole is a south magnet. So, it's just kind of entertaining. Catch you guys later.
Oh, thanks.
Now, does it work when I speak? Find out in a second on your main screen.
Yeah,
now it's working.
Hang on, I'll just see if I'll present to everyone.
No, don't present me. You don't have to present me. It was just, that's all you had to do was take in the screen. It just showed in for all of that section.
So what you want me to do? I want to unpresent?
Yeah, just unpresent me.
Alright.
No, just show both the faces. That's it. Well, I was always told that the magnet is omen in south, not north anyway. They just painted the wrong end of the stick. But if August Picard's depiction was right, it's like a saucer with upturned edges, then it's more of a ring magnet, like a speaker.
Well, the way he said it was almost like that we're living inside a creator or something. Like, it sounds weird, but it's like a kind of, like a dish sort of thing. But obviously I don't think it could be like really steep at the edges. I don't know.
They say, Jim Carrey said in Truman, 20,000 foot wall of ice, southern face, never been conquered. 20,000 foot, was that 1, 2, 3, 4 miles high ice?
I thought it was 200 feet of ice or something down there. I don't know.
I thought it said 20,000 feet. 20,000 feet of ice. Sheer feet of ice.
So it gets pretty high up then, apparently.
Yeah, like Mount Ramemi or whatever it is. What I was looking at the other day, there was 2 big plateaus in the sky. And when you look on top of them, they've got lakes and everything, all flat. So the water's being pushed up there by something.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely interesting. Obviously, the Globers are like, the gravity's, making the water find its own level and stuff, and we know that's just not kind of possible.
Water's flat and level. Don't care. Don't bend either way, Jamie. Be like water, my friend.
Well, actually, I think because when Ireland came on here before, he was talking, because it came on like a few weeks ago, and he was talking about surface tension, because the water will kind of, because we'll argue that the water finds flat, but it actually there's actually a bit of tension in a glass or something, but it still has to be contained somehow. You can't have it concave, like, it just doesn't really make any sense. But obviously, if he could like explain it a bit better, maybe we'd understand it more. But
LSC?
No, Ireland.
Ireland.
Guys, real, to be honest, at LSC.
What do you mean real?
As in, it's just, it can't be serious.
Are you saying he's an actor or a shit actor?
Well,
sorry. Jamie, right? Convex or concave, it don't work, mate, because water's flat. I don't see my bathwater pushing away from itself because of diametrics.
LSC stands for Ladies Sucks Cock. Well,
picture of it. None of it makes any sense.
Well, the thing is, they can't show a model of it without distorting it in some way. Because it has to be kind of projected, like with the globe, it has to be projected onto a flat map.
But they'll split it a million different ways from positioning a planet.
It seems like something that you would get in a video game, some like kind of fantasy game or something.
Well, it is a fantasy game. Can I have some better weapons, James?
Well, Ireland was even saying, that LSC could be the psyop, because he's not on board with LSC Earth. I wouldn't even know why there was different versions concave Earth till recently.
Well, there's different versions of flat Earth, so
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard some actually believe it's moving like the globe Earth
I know.
because they talk about Coriolis effect.
Well, you can't prove Coriolis effect.
It only exists when it suits them.
Yeah, otherwise all the satellites would be Coriolis in outer space.
Yeah, they'd have to be adjusting for it. And the ISS would 17,500 miles an hour. If it got it slightly wrong, and we know that these instruments can't be 100% accurate, that can kind of guide it. So I don't even think it's possible. But if they talk about Coriolis effect, they have to admit that airplanes are actually moving independently of the Earth's spin.
And helicopters.
Yeah, exactly. So, which would obviously mean that depending in what direction you're going, you'd either go to your destination quicker or slower.
In reality.
But they talk about, it's because of gravity. Well, so gravity there shouldn't even be a Coriolis effect then. If gravity's kind of making everything, rotate with the atmosphere, then it shouldn't be causing the Coriolis effect. I don't understand it.
It's a bag of bollocks. Oh.
Yeah, you're not supposed
to be swearing.
You're not supposed to use fruitful language, are you?
It's not real. Kids can recognise this fact, Jamie, and grown men and women can't. Just like Antonio says in Lord of the Rings, it's the little people that bring them down.
So I take it it's been like stretched out to be like the oblate spheroid Earth.
Are we talking about?
Yeah, the thing is, the globers will be like, well, but they just composite, so they actually just stitch together. But actually, they admitted to rendering the image, to just creating a fake image.
It's photoshopped.
There's evidence of the clone tool being used. It's pretty obvious it's fake.
Every single bit of footage we've ever seen is flat. It's not convex. It's not concave. It's flat. Every picture I've seen, natural pictures, it's flat. People like us taking them, balloon journeys, plane rides. It's flat. There's no two ways around it. There is no curvature. No matter how you try and work it out, everything measures up.
Yeah. Well, they try to argue things, but it's like they argue things where it's like they can't have it both ways, so it's best to kind of try and pull them up on that, because then you can back them into a corner then, and they have nowhere to go, so then they have to admit that they're wrong.
You can't get them to admit to themselves that they're wrong until they've admitted it.
Yeah, that's
on
it.
their own. They've got to admit it on their own, like you did. Once you admit you've been wrong.
We just got to kind of, I don't know, there's not very much that we can do, just
the profundant, the amount of evidence that is stacked against them.
Actually, just go back on that. The globers might actually say, "Oh, look, you can see a little bit of curve if you go back to the high altitude footage. If you look at it ever so slightly, there's
ever so slightly.
There's a slight bit of curve.
Let's come back. Ever so slightly, Jamie. There's nothing going to it. Otherwise, the sunlight wouldn't be able to break the beam all the way to my feet, just like on the bottom.
Yeah, so you mean that proves that the sun's actually a lot closer?
Yeah, of course, because otherwise sunlight would not hit your feet on the beach.
Yeah, it wouldn't come all the way up to where you are at the beach because there's actually an experiment done that kind of proves that that light cannot bend all the way up. Because if they're claiming that the sun's going down, then it's all that distance away, then it cannot come all that way up.
And it's the same for concave. That sunlight would not reach my feet.
But concavers say that light bends, so it'll always look flat or something.
Show me where light bends. The only time you see it is the roaring bow there. But again, it comes down to perspective, Jamie. Perspective is not curvature, Jamie. And heat rises is the truth. Heat rises because we're breathing water. Very fine water.
I find that kind of confusing. This like heat rises, but it gets colder the higher up you go.
Well, right here we're talking about on our base level, the Fata Morgana. So light at this level reflects like a mirror, even though there's heat rising through it. For light to be bending upwards, that means it's connecting with something, correct?
So what are you talking about?
Right. you can't see light coming straight towards you unless something's in between it, like a cloud or smoke, like in this picture in a rave photograph. The only reason you're seeing that light is because of smoke, Jeremy. You wouldn't see anything until it hit something. Yeah, when you can't see the light between you and the light above your head, can you? You can only see what is rebounding off around you, Jamie.
Yeah.
So it's the same instance here. As the heat rises up through the air that we're breathing, it will warp these lights, but it doesn't bend. Water bends. Water bends light. Where's the picky?
Yeah, because that proves that the water is flat. Because if the water, because the slide just like kind of waves in the water will kind of will break it, won't it?
That's a waterfall. That ain't light bending. That's just like following the curvature of that water falling down, and it's bouncing off each section of it and becoming less and less bright.
So light is like water then.
Light can bend through water like that, but it's not bending, is it? It's reflecting inside of it, losing its power every time it does.
Because it has to be contained within something.
Mm-hmm.
But water flows though. That's the difference.
Yep. So why have they been faking it all these years, Jamie?
Because it makes us feel insignificant.
Yeah. Who do you think created it all? Do you think it was LSC?
I don't know, maybe I'll just have to wait till I die to meet whoever created it.
Same here. All I know is the sun is close.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. It's a good video to debunk the...
Jamie, are those light rays bending at all?
No, because it proves because even if it was, say, like a few 100,000 miles away, it would be parallel.
Oh yeah, and you'd have to have a 90,000 mile wide air for something to correspond with it. For its distance and size.
Yeah, because it's all relative, isn't it?
That's right. In their theory.
Yeah, but that's how it would be in reality, is that you'd have to have a really large Earth, even if the sun was a lot... I mean, even if it was just like 100 or 200,000 miles away, then... So how far do you think the sun is then? I mean, how high up do you think the sun is?
I reckon it's really close. Maybe...
Because I know a lot of the flat earthers...
Maybe 33 miles.
About 3,000 miles up, but I don't agree with that.
I say 33, Jamie.
Because of like...
Because of Coca-Cola, Charlie Chaplin, Cheech and Chong.
It's not 666 miles, is it?
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't even think it's, because they say it's 3,000 miles from them, but that's because it's an apparent sun, so you can't really tell for 100% because the position is hard to kind of work out. I mean, there's a lot of people doing these sun tracking experiments, but I think it's good to kind of point out the kind of lies with the heliocentric model because
it destroys it.
Because the time and date and all that, apparently it's been like debunked.
They put it on your wrist all your life, Jamie. Sun, moon, hour and fast hand. Right in front of you, flat Earth. They don't put concave watches on your wrist.
Well, yeah, so because when you was doing your live, when you was live the other day, and you're just in there's even the ones that are concave, they're only slightly concave. Yeah. They're always more or less flat.
Yep, up like a saucer with upturned edges, a dish, and they're not making £500,000 watches that are concave. They're making them flat like that. Copying that. Shout out to Carl Stenbeck, Mum, Cinny. Someone sat there laughing at us, Carl. Jamie, someone's laughing their heads off.
Who's laughing at us?
Sock puppets. Bitches they are.
Well, there's always this guy that comes in chats and stuff and videos I put out, Cell Earther. It seems like one of LSC's disciples.
Yeah, I think it's a muscular rock lover, I believe.
One of his sock puppets. There's another one I've seen, Paradise Found. Have you seen that one as well?
Paradise? I know Paradise. Sean's nice. I like Sean. He's got the old glasses, hasn't he? Come on. Let's hit one click. I want my fast computer back. No, it's frozen.
Cynthia's saying, please give my spanner to Mum or something. What the hell?
Give her spanner to Mum. She doesn't like to wrench people. Shout out to Paradise. Shawnee.
You have to take the piss, you don't you?
I do. Even when I'm on mellow mode. Jamie, right, when you got pictures like this showing you the clouds are perfectly perpendicular, flat, barometrically square, just like they are on the bottom. Flat bottom cloud, you make the rocking wheel go round.
Yeah, because if we were on a bowl, you couldn't have flat clouds over it. Otherwise, it's like you'd have like a cube where there's like a sphere or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like that'd be weird.
Well, wherever I am, it's not where I told I was. And everything, and I mean everything, Jamie, points to it being flat. Even the first rocket picture.
So why did you think that they didn't just fake? Like, why didn't you? Why do you think they would, show us like what it really looks like up there, and not bend it slightly?
They always have, but these are the first rocket. That's the first rocket shot.
Well, someone thinks that they have to put it out because if they show people the true Earth from time to time, like with the Felix Baumgartner jump, the Rebel jump, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the fake one.
Before he.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have to put it out every so often because then they bypass the karma then because
they showed them.
Because then because it's the people that it's their fault when if they've been shown the truth and the lies it's up to them to discern it for themselves, so they're able to kind of get away with it because they're lying but they're telling the truth at the same time. Well, they're not telling the truth but they're exposing it in little like Easter eggs and things that they put out.
Do you think Hitler was a flat earther?
I don't know.
He looks pretty mad there, doesn't he? Under a glitter ball. But what if that's the truth at the North Star? That's what it does. It sprays out all the stars. Look, that's doing.
Well, I heard this theory that I actually didn't. I pretended to shoot himself and actually got out to the North Pole or something. Neuschwabenland, yeah. Falkland Islands. Well, that's pretty close to Antarctica, isn't it?
Yeah, right next to Neuschwabenland.
So who do you think's down there then?
The original Australians. It is called Australis, a huge continent, because Australia was known as New Holland.
Well, I've heard that Australia and New Zealand are actually kind of two separate continents.
Mm-hmm. On different sites, allegedly.
Because the area around New Zealand's apparently called Zealandia or something.
Mm-hmm. But they can tell us all sorts right now, and nothing's going to change the fact that water's 100% flat, Jamie, and the rest I'll just go with. You know, we've got pictures of stars. Look at that one that looks like his arms are spread out in the corner, Jamie. That one canes me.
Yeah, they look pretty weird. I mean, definitely not anything like what they claim them to be.
Nothing like. They don't look like planets or suns. They're something totally other, and everything else is just laughable.
They look like something that if you went and touched it, it'd give you like an electric shock or something.
Oh yeah, perhaps. Maybe the memories. Maybe they're angels. Who knows, Jamie?
Well, I've heard that they're actually souls of the dead.
Fill that train 10,000 deep. Jamie, I'm a different guy to what I was 3 years ago. I think differently. I act differently. The shape of the earth started to shape me. And even though people are laughing at me, laughing at you, laughing at everyone, the biggest shock is yet to come for all of them when they realise they're wrong.
Yeah, because a lot of them will probably say it's got to be some psyop. It's got to be something that's trying to discredit the truth movement or something. You know, like, well, they've obviously not done their full research. You know, and it seems like the opposite is what's actually going to expose the rest of the lies, really. Because if you can make it to flat Earth, then pretty much every other conspiracy is just
a joke. Every other conspiracy becomes a joke. They've hidden everything in plain sight. All this time, it's been right in your face. You can't get a single picture of Mars that looks the same. It's a joke. It's a total joke, Jamie. And one of us is going to crack the matrix, I'm sure. And then, I don't know, maybe all the religions in some way were part true. And part of each becomes real for everyone. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like what they're showing it to be, like this solid object that they're claiming it to be. Yeah, because Ilan von Vicious thinks these things are solid objects, but certainly doesn't look like they are.
Nope. They look like they resonate. They look like they pulse. They look like they breathe. I almost want to say it looks like they feel, or it's showing your feelings or the feelings of groups of people. It could be, it's a million different things. I don't think we're supposed to know all of it, Jamie. I really don't. I think
Why not?
just,
what do you think? It's too horrifying or something?
No, I think you already know it.
What do you mean?
You've forgotten it. I think we've all forgotten it. Something changed in us. We've forgotten.
So you mean that as in like
all the answers, they're hidden right in front of you. Your blood spirals.
It's like we knew it all along, but we just
denied it.
But it's like it was deep inside of you all along. It was like, because a lot of people said that they've always felt deep inside of them that something isn't right, but they never knew what it were. But now they understand what it were all along.
It's not hard to accept once you realise whatever catalyst it is that dawns on you first. You can only go through so many coincidences, right, Jamie? You can only go through so many coincidences. Eventually, your own logic just says, nah, this is my answer, and I won't accept anyone else's until proven otherwise. And most of it's already fact anyway.
They say you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's actually, in this case, guilty until proven innocent, because when these space agencies and scientists are claiming things, the burden of proof is on them. So until they can prove what they're claiming, then they're guilty of lying, because the burden of proof lies with them, because they're claiming that they can send rockets into a vacuum, and which we know is just a joke.
They can't even show us it. They can't repeat it. They can't show us what sticking to a spinning ball or a spinning object. They can't prove anything that they class as a theory as proof.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? They never. It's easy to always kind of stay at the theory stage and never kind of become an accepted fact.
Proof or facts, yeah. Doesn't matter.
I suppose a fact is in what you define as a fact is. I mean, is there a difference between a fact and truth? Because I'm sure I've heard someone saying about how they're not the same thing, but it's like, but then it's just words, isn't it?
It depends on how you look upon the words, especially depending on the situation you're in.
Because apparently some people think of a theory as actually a
fact.
Yeah, some actually think that it's just like a really compelling bunch of evidence. So they call it a theory, but a lot of people who think of a theory are what some people think of more of a hypothesis. So it's kind of confusing.
Not if you stick to logic, everything stays. I don't know, logical.
It's like, it shouldn't be just so hard to explain just natural phenomenon and stuff. It should just be, you shouldn't need complex formulas to
answer a simple question.
Yeah.
Just one true picture from outer space would be good, not an image.
I suppose even if it did have a true picture, then like the flat earthers would be like, it still might not be real because, well, they could have photoshopped it. They've got technology to do that. So I don't know.
But we've already been shown plenty of pictures of the flat Earth. You've got abyssal plains, you've got oblivious salt flats. As above, so below. Acts like a mirror. Birds flock together. Fish skull together. Exactly the same way. Almost resonating off the ether.
Yeah, another thing, reflections wouldn't work on a globe because of the curvature. It would be distorted, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. But that's what it looks like when they go up on them balloons. Any amateur footage that we've got, they look like that, as above, so below. The sun coming all the way to your feet. And if you've done any curvature tests, 6 miles is 24 feet of curvature. And from the minute you take off, everything's going down. That's what people forget. They're looking for it in front of them, and it's below them. It's a curved ball.
Yeah, the thing is that they'll be like, the Earth's too big, so, that's their argument.
Yeah, but that's because they don't know the curvature chart. It doesn't matter what you say. I'm not spinning. Nobody can even answer that question, Jeremy. I can't feel the Earth's rotation. I'm doing 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, they argue that it's due to you're only able to feel like acceleration and deceleration. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But that's bullcrap because every 12 hours you're doing a full half turn in rotation. It doesn't matter that you can't feel the spin. You're going to feel the curve. You're on a spinning curve ball. Full of it. Been on the waltzers. Been on the teacups. You've been on roller coasters. You're not in motion.
Well, like I said, if you're going around the sun and it's like you're doing like an elliptical orbit, then it's constantly changing direction as it's going around the sun.
Yeah, in 4 directions. It's a joke. You can't have flat plains, flood plains, abyssal plains, salt flats, Holland. Damn, Jamie, they reclaimed Holland from the sea, man. So it's as flat as a pancake.
Yeah, because there's like flat land going all the way from East Anglia to Holland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like however far, it's like probably 200-300 miles all the way across. I mean, not like as in going from the one flat bit to the other. It's like there should be miles and miles of curve.
Mm-hmm. So in reality, if the water levels were lower, there'd have been a lot more land. Everything would have been a lot more connected.
So you think, what do you think about the water? Do you think that that's like an intruder? So what do you think about the water?
Maybe a replenisher. It flooded last time. It got rid of all the trash in the world, apart from so many, allegedly.
Well, there's this thing that Pete Shea was saying that at one time that the Earth was 80% land and 20% water.
Yeah, there'd have been a lot more people, wouldn't there?
Well, suppose if you have more people, then more land, there'll be more land probably, because then it's whatever it needs to be, because it's like
self-sustaining.
Yeah, exactly. Because you start to think of it as a realm of existence, not a planet that's just randomly spinning and whizzing and wobbling and.
Well, if you reduce the water level down, say 3 miles, you'd be able to compensate the world for a lot more people, for many more generations.
Yeah, not only that, but when you tell us that we have like 7 billion people, I don't even think that's true.
No, I don't.
And even if it were, it doesn't matter about the numbers. It's that they reckon that even 7 billion, you could fit in the size of Texas or something like that if everyone was tightly
packed.
Yeah. So if you was to lower the water level, I mean, how is that possible to happen then?
I don't know. I'm not the creator. I'm not Mother Earth.
Well, it might have something to do with the giant trees theory.
I'm not a lumberjack, Jamie. So, I don't know. Mountains could have been trees. I don't know. If trees were made of silica.
Well, when I watched that, it was pretty mind-blowing, but, actually, this guy that comes on here sometimes, Mick, the Flat Earth Still Water, and he says that possibly the plateaus and stuff, they could actually be the bottom of, like, giant mushrooms.
I think Stephen Bradley had the same analogy on mushrooms. That's what I'm saying. No, for me, you look at the yin-yang sign and you can see it there, moving, Chinese new. And then it began pretty quickly for me. You are the beginning, you are the end. I am the alpha and the omega.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other. It's simple.
And once you start recognising the fact that you are the beginning and end of your own reality, and how they've split and divided all of us, and if we all sung one song, a universal song, nothing.
Yeah, because it's started from birth, male, female. The boys, blue, girls are pink, then they split you up into different groups, and it gets more and more divided, and it makes it so easy for them to control over us.
But it's there in nature. You can't take it away. I do believe they've hidden the feminine, the divine feminine. They've hidden it,
Well, it seems like that the women aren't even showing their true feminine side. It's like they're not really. It seems like that they're trying to push the masculinity on the women and to feminize men, but not in the right way. If you get what I'm saying, I mean, is that the divine feminine is to care, but males do not care. It seems anymore. But also women in a way have shifted their care to pointless things and not to what they should be doing. So they have different strategies for the different sexes and different groups to keep them divided.
Flat Earth changes that though.
Yeah, Flat Earth definitely causing a wave, isn't it?
So, if you was new here, Jamie, how would you go about asking questions? Because the trolls just don't know how to do it properly.
What you mean, as in, like, help the trolls actually kind of have a better case for the globe?
Well, just a question was better because it only takes a few questions to recognise one of them, you know. Because I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious because it's always the same copy and paste argument that are just, they'll come and spam you and they'll like keep repeating the same stuff. And it's like, yeah, they know what they're talking about, but I don't know. Do you know why they do it then?
Well, it's part of the mockery and hidden in plain sight.
What, so you think they're actually put up to do it then?
Some of them, not all of them.
But you think some of them might be sucked into a cult or something?
They're all in a cult.
I mean, they call Flat Earth a cult, but it's like, if Flat Earth truly is a psyop, then they're the ones that are being the dividers.
Right. Is water flat and level?
Well, as far as we experience it, yeah.
It's water level, Jamie, that's right. So how can Flat Earth be a psyop? Because water becomes whatever it fills.
But I'm saying, even if it were, say for instance it was a globe, right? And even if it were, and the way that they try and argue it, and every time you try and bring up the curvature, they direct it to something else. Like that. Well, they divert it to something else. I mean, like what they'll do is they'll shift the burden of proof, shift the goalposts, and they'll do all these things. And what they'll do is they'll talk about, why do star trails spin in different directions, different hemispheres.
Yeah, does the sun change size, Jamie?
Well, sometimes when you look at it setting, it looks pretty big, but that's due to the atmosphere.
That's right. So
because we see
it does change size, Jamie. It changes size. Look, it changes size.
Yeah, we see a dome around us, so it can sometimes the light can play tricks on you.
So can people.
Yeah.
I'm a magician.
Yeah, and globers believe in magic, obviously. Yeah, because they believe in gravity.
I believe in Jesus.
All right.
But some people believe in Einstein. I'll take Jesus every day of the week over Einstein. But if Jesus came in here now and told me the world was concave, I'd slap him across the face, mate, for lying. But he's not going to, because the Bible says it's flat and stationary and immovable. So does the Quran, so does Krishna, so does Buddha, written on all the maps. Geez, they made sundials, Jamie. They made sundials that still work to this day. Perfect timepieces, because the sun and moon have never changed and the stars have never changed in all of time. We're looking at the same sky that Adam and Eve looked at, or the very first people that were here, Jamie. You're going to go and take a pair of binoculars to the beach, watch a ship disappear, and then look at it through your binoculars and see it again. There is no curvature.
Yeah, it's so obvious when you realise it's
flat.
Yeah. It's like, how could I have even entertained the idea of a spinning globe Earth? It's absolute nonsense. But you just don't think because you just think it's a fact. So it's on Twitter right now, and I think because there's one of these trolls on there, and the flat earthers drinking piss in secret hangout. So it's like they're ones into the attack flat earth because some people decide to drink their own urine,
and some people are paid by pharmaceuticals.
Well, actually, because I was on Dread's hangout earlier in it, and someone put in the chat, what was it? That they think drinking urine is disgusting, but it's all right to drink
fluoridated water.
Raw cow milk or something.
Right. So in most skin cream products for getting rid of wrinkles and that, it's horse piss and all the rest of it. Animal urine. So for 9 months, we were all bathed in our mother's waters, Jamie. For 9 months, we swam and drank and ate and pissed in air piss and carried on drinking and breathing through it.
So sounds disgusting, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's how you got into this world, mate.
That's the conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how you got into this world, mate. So if you think you're drinking clean water anyway, it's all been recycled for thousands of years. You've been drinking your ancestors' pee for the last 30 years, however old you are.
Yeah, because all it's been done is it's been filtered out,
recycled, distilled.
The solid bits of it,
Just like Scotch video, rewind, re-record, not fade away, re-record, not fade away. And that's water's got memory. So
like when it comes out your body, is it actually distilled, or is it just still got like the fluoride in it or something?
It's been removed.
Does your body because they talk about because if you if you have lots of fluoride and stuff, it calcifies your pineal gland or something. So
no, it binds to calcium, which will bind to your pineal gland, allegedly. I don't know. I don't listen to it. Jamie, right? I just do my logical thoughts. The rest, unless you can bring me the bones of a dinosaur or, whatever, unless you can bring me that, it just stays where it is for me. I'm open-minded, Jamie.
I suppose you've got to experience
flat, innit, right? Yeah. I've not seen UFOs. I've seen something, but I can't call it a UFO. Not to.
Yeah, it could just be like a Project Bluebeam or something.
Exactly, and they've been playing tricks on us for a long time.
Yeah, it's just a diversion tactic because they know that people are going to wake up eventually, so they have to divert people into science fiction and those.
But you've already been diverted. I spent my whole life in science fiction because I grew up in a science fiction fantasy era.
Yeah, but they've got to make people go even deeper into it and actually, believe that it's like, because when like the Star Trek and all that stuff, it's like they got to start making people think even that stuff could be real, when none of it's real at all.
Someone said the other day that William Shatner's a better actor than Buzz Aldrin, and I thought, well, that's a great statement. But we've been fooled all our lives. We've been fooled all our lives, Jamie. I got fed up with it. I rebelled. No two ways around it. You got.
It's good to hear you kind of knew how to crack the system, and
I was the first in my breed virtually. When I first to get sectioned, first to hang off the roof and paint his wall green and go to space. And did a lot of things that my friends and family think I'm crazy for, and literally rang the nut house. And
so, does anyone else in your family agree with you then?
Yeah, they do, but they don't voice it like me. They're not in a position, Jamie, to voice it like me.
So, is it you say your cousin that was on the other day or something talking about you're in therapy or something?
Yeah, 30 years on tablets, B12 deficiency, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, loads of problems. She just stopped the tablets, distilled water. You're in therapy.
Well, apparently it has actually got like nutrients and vitamins and things in it, like
everything: potassium, calcium, nitrogen, all the things that you're rejecting anyway. But it's got the most important thing is that it's sterile.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It actually does say that it is because all the toxic stuff actually goes out the other end.
That's right. That's why it stinks.
Yeah. Because people, it's like the condition to kind of the thing that it's like, why is it that people are so revolted by their own urine? It's their own. It's like being revolted by. It's like people aren't even so revolted by their own snot, even though that's probably more toxic than.
If it turned out that the creator had placed your own perfect medicine within inside you, how much more simple than that do you get?
Yeah, it makes sense because it's like your body produces it. It can't be any more perfect because it's like because your body doesn't have to work to try and make it. I suppose for the body, it just is.
It's already yours. That's why.
Yeah.
But there's no arguing with it.
It's probably just like if you cut yourself and you grab a bit of skin and eat it, it's like you're putting that back in you or something.
Cannibalizing yourself.
But it sounds crazy, but it's like...
Welcome to the Jamie Lecter show.
I'm not saying do that. Don't cut yourself and eat your own skin unless you're quasi, of course.
Dr. Jamie Lecter. Jamie Lecter.
Unless you're quasi and you're telling people to...
Blood over intent. Ear over your nose. You're now watching the Quasi Brown show. He's just put out the ear over nose intent. Wants you to choose between your ear or your nose, and intend it to go to good things.
Next will be come over intent.
Well,
come stick in the water.
I suppose. So is blood. And probably peers as well. But we probably live in something like that.
Yeah, because it is hard like cement.
Well,
oh, God.
All seamen are lost at sea, you know that, don't you?
Oh yeah, because I heard the counter arguments for the blood over intent that it's actually because of the maritime law. What's lost at sea is up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you spill your blood, then it's anything can come and take it and use it for themselves. So I find that whole kind of thing a kind of dodgy kind of thing to get into. And I know Pete Shea has done it and stuff, and he says it's done him good, but I don't recommend it on anyone, especially when there's like little kids doing it.
I wouldn't.
Because if your blood's powerful, then you want to kind of keep hold of it.
Mm-hmm. It's your sign of nature, signature. It's your sign of nature. Jesus said those that in the end was sangreal, which is, that one verse.
When someone's put in chat, is the Earth really flat, really real? Of course, have you ever seen curvy water? And have you ever felt the Earth spin?
Have you ever seen a sausage roll? We're not spinning. Water's flat. The stars are probably angels or wishes or thoughts or memories. I live under water. I'm a water baby. I was born in my mum's pee. I've been drinking other people's pee. I've drunk my own pee.
To answer your question, have you ever seen a sausage roll? Yeah, when the person rolls with it.
There was eating a sausage roll on the waltzers, on the gravity wheel. I mean, the gravity wheel tells you everything, when you get on it and it sucks you to the wall, tells you everything.
What do you call somebody who runs away from their anti-gravity?
I knew it was that.
You can laugh at this stuff, but it's really serious, though. We've been had.
Oh yeah, we've been had. When you've got 100-mile long bridges that don't show curvature, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it should be almost 7,000 feet of curve.
Mm-hmm.
So is it official that they never actually took any curve into account? Because I know, like, some people, they do, because there was going on about some bridge somewhere where they apparently did take curve into account.
The Humber Bridge.
I don't know which one.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I heard that some of that
allegedly
36 millimeters or something.
36 mil, yeah, at the top, tower to tower. If you check it with a laser beam, balls, Jack.
Yeah, well, we know that water is a better leveler than lasers.
Mm-hmm. That's why we build with it. But even builders can't see it.
So what would happen if water was actually curving and you tried to use it to? Well, that would cause if you was to try and build a really tall building, it would end up being wider at the top or something.
Allegedly. It'd be way out. You'd be looking at the windows at different angles, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be looking perpendicular straight through someone's window anymore. They'd be pointing away from you, and you'd be pointing away from them. It's a totally different perspective.
Well, arguably would be so slight that you wouldn't notice.
Are you kidding me? It's 8 inches per mile squared by the mile.
Yeah, so if you're looking across like a few hundred feet or something, it wouldn't be noticeable.
Well, it would. It's an inch. You've never seen it. So until you see it, Jamie, don't tell me it's not noticeable.
Yeah, it's because we've never actually experienced it, so we don't know if it would be noticeable. So
if you look at Mario 64 Galaxy, when Mario's running around those little planets, that's what it would look like on an aeroplane as you flew past stuff, clouds and cities. You'd be looking at curved lines everywhere. The buildings would be pointing away from each other from one end of the city to the other. It's a joke. Yeah. And your eye is perfect, and you would see it. Yeah, because when it shows that Chicago skyline, and the buildings should be at a tilted angle away from each other. That's right, Jamie. They want to know why half the building's missing. I want to know why the half the building that's showing ain't pointing away. Yeah, and it shouldn't. There shouldn't be that much visible anyway. Exactly. Due to the Earth, so it's like what they do is they shift the goalposts, and why is it half missing? Well. That's why so many people. They need to explain why half is visible. Oh, because of mirage. Well, our explanation is due to atmospheric lensing, which sounds a lot more logical because there was no evidence of a mirage because it should have been inverted and wavy and it should have looked distorted somehow. But it weren't. Same with Toronto skyline. Mm-hmm. And what was there was like a building that you could see something. Is it Rogers Centre or something? And it should have been below the curve, but it was
quite clearly visible.
I thought it was Sears. I don't know.
No,
Don't quote me on
Toronto
it.
skyline. It was
Oh,
quite a. We weren't massive, but I think it was like maybe 300 feet or 400 feet or something. But it should have been below the curve because there should have been about 500 feet. So, you know, there's loads of anomalies with this globe Earth. Anyway. So I'm probably not gonna go on too much longer. I'll just talk to chat for a bit. I think. Just don't know why he just dropped out then. Pete didn't say I was going or something, but yeah, it's kind of everything's just flipped on you. You know, everything that they tell you is good for you is actually bad for you, and everything they tell you is bad for you is actually good for you. So, so yeah, you know, it's pretty obvious when you become awake. But then again, are we truly awake, or is this just the beginning? Well, I definitely think it is just the beginning. But so it's good chatting with you guys, you know, because all you guys get it, you know, you all get that we were being lied to. Without this hangout thing, it'd be harder for, you know, us to kind of get together and like have talks with each other and stuff. But, you know, I'm gonna just. Oh yeah, I heard about Peanuts Clark. Actually, I think it was LSC that was saying something about that, about the ice at the firmament or something, and they're building underground cities so that they have somewhere to escape or something. But like I said, I don't really take that guy seriously. I have some truth, but oh yeah, there's this like video that's like got millions of views, and someone with about 19 million subscribers, which I think has put a video out to mock the flat Earth, and you know, but at least it's getting it out there. But you know, so anyway, it's been good chatting again. So hopefully I'll do this again tomorrow night, and yeah, I'll just let you guys go to some other hangout if you want to go. I think Candy's got a hangout going on right now. So yeah, good day, good afternoon, night, morning, whatever it is for you guys. Peace.